At only 21, University of Arizona Dustin Stallberg recently finished sixth at the Los Angeles Marathon, and he's won the Houston Marathon. Welcome, Dustin.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Hey, Dustin, LA was just a few weeks ago, and there's probably a lot to reminisce about there. What was the course like, and how did it fare up for you?
Yeah, it was my first time being in LA. I loved it, and it was cool to start at Dodger Stadium. It was a really fun course. A lot of downhill. I like the downhill because I don't have to like push as much. But it was a great experience. My time wasn't as good, but it was still an awesome experience to be there.
Hey, Dustin, I know you're a pretty young man, but I'm sure that you've given this a little bit of thought. Sports is one of those things that I think is a really driving force in life. I've done it, and you're doing it now, and you're starting to work your way up to the highest level. What do you think is so important about sports, and do you think it's a really integral part of finding your way back sometimes from difficult situations like injuries?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's very important. I feel like sports kind of like brings people together. And I think especially with like wheelchair sports, like people coming back from injuries, it just gives people like hope that there are possibilities out there. I had my disability from birth on, so I've had it all my life, so that's what I'm used to. But other people, it just gives hope. Like I have so many people like after races just tell me like how amazing I am just to finish the race. Like to them, like time doesn't even matter. It's just like us athletes, we're so hard on ourselves, but it's like we're an inspiration to people, and that's another reason why I love wheelchair racing is that you just like inspire so many people, and you don't even know it. You just do it because you love the sport.
So, as you were starting to venture down the path towards education and sport, what was some of the best advice that you can remember when you were starting to move in that direction?
I think the best advice is just, it sounds kind of basic, but never give up. My mom, she's in a single mom of four. She's probably my biggest inspiration, and I've seen her struggle a bunch of times. But just never giving up. That's just a big part of my family. And I think that's another reason why I got into marathons and just marathons in school. I'm on the wheelchair track team, um, and yeah, I think that's the biggest advice I've gotten.
There must have been a point where you were doing sport for, say, health and fitness, just so that you could have a healthier, more independent lifestyle. But do you realize or recognize a point in your life where it converted over, and just the wanting to be fit turned into something more in the sports world where you were really driven?
Yeah, so I was always a very active kid. I grew up in Germany where I was a soccer goalie. I just got out of my wheelchair and I got on my knees and just played with the able-bodied kids. And then eventually people grew up, and I wasn't able to like save shots anymore because they just got too big, and I couldn't move as fast in the goalie like on my knees. So I really just started off sports just for fun, and I always like just enjoyed like the outdoors, just rolling around. And when I came to the U.S., my mom was like really she really wanted me to find a something to do with my life. And she ended up finding the Tier Memorial Herman Houston Hot Wheels, which is a wheelchair basketball team down in Houston. And I played about 9 years, I think, and I won two national championships with them. And I think that's when my love for like sport in general like started. Like competitive sport, I wasn't doing it just for fun. It was fun for me, but that's where the competitiveness kind of kicked in more. And then me and my mom, we looked into doing the Houston Marathon for the first time. And that's kind of when my love for track like really that's really what kickstarted it, because training for a marathon is not easy, and I think once you do a marathon, you're basically hooked to racing. I mean, that's what happened to me. um, and yeah, I think that's where my real track competitiveness started really showing.
Hey, I couldn't really agree more because I know exactly how hard it is. But do you remember thinking back on some of the workouts you've done over the years? Do you remember any one specific or any number of workouts you've done that have been really difficult? Something that's pushed you to your limit, and what was it?
Oh yeah, I think the longer distance workouts is definitely the toughest, because in wheelchair racing you have to be prepared for like something like a flat tire, or something like loosening up. So I think just the preparation that goes into the long runs is probably one of my more difficult workouts. Here at the U of A, we always have a course we call Rancho Vistoso, which is about 30 minutes north of campus here, and that's our days when we usually do 25 miles a day. Um, it's usually on Saturdays, and that one is very challenging. It has a lot of uphills, which it's really hard for me to go uphill. I'm more of a downhill guy, so yeah, that's definitely one of my more challenging workouts.
As you started to gravitate towards racing being the most significant portion of your sports world, who were some of the people that you were looking at? I mean, there were so many people who came before you, the Ernst Van Dykes and the Heinz Fries, and maybe you don't even remember some of these people, but do you remember anybody either at the U of A or any particular athlete that you admired, that you looked at, that really took you, that made you want to jump in and be more?
I can't think of like one specific person. When I was marathon training for my first one, I just would go on YouTube and just watch like a bunch of like any wheelchair racing highlights I could find, just like to get to know more. So I know about every person you've mentioned, but there wasn't like one specific person I focused on. Now I've raced with like a Roma Chuck, I've raced with Van Dyke, and I've raced with U of A alumni Tyler Byers, and yeah, those people, they're amazing. It's amazing to race with these people that are so much better than me. It's just it's a learning experience, and I love racing against them just to gain that experience.
Hey, you brought up an interesting name there, that being Tyler Byers. I know that Tyler had a pretty outstanding Paralympic career and as well a very good road racing career. So, he being a U of A alum, how do you look at him? I mean, you must have a lot of admiration for him and what he's accomplished.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy. He like even off of the racing, like he's a great guy to talk to. Always see him with a smile, always giving us guys advice. And it's I think last Boston I was just like really trying to like stick with him, just because I know he has the experience. So definitely has its advantages, just like sticking with him, because he's done all these courses like at least 10 times. He's telling me it's just awesome. The knowledge he has, it's just awesome to talk to him.
Well, you've got plenty of years in front of you. What's the ultimate hope and aspiration? Paralympics, winning major marathons? Where do you see this going?
I definitely want to do both of those. I don't know how realistic that is, but I like being I like being confident. I don't like getting all down on myself. So I like to set my bar high and see how far I can take that.